hello again there, folks. Something that I've come across in the political discourse, which I find interesting, is this idea that the left wing can't do memes, and then other memes they do try to do them, but they're not funny, and then they're a bit cringe and a bit naff, a bit rubbish. And I think that's an interesting thing. Like it definitely is the case as well. And I know that the definitions of left and right are beginning to break down now, but I'm just going to use the standard definitions so we've got some markers along the way. And so what I've done here is I came across a couple of, like a little interaction on Twitter, which I thought was an interesting one, because here you can see what we can call a right-wing meme going up against the left-wing meme, and we can have a look at the differences between the two and where they're both coming from. And it is a world of difference, I have to say. So this is one I would think of as being a right-wing meme. It's because it's got very popular there. It's got 13,000 likes, and you've got a woman called Kate here, and she's put. So the thing is with this as well, it's like. It's a strange thing with a meme because it's supposed to hit you. The idea of a meme is to imprint a message on the mind of the viewer. It's really an internet phenomenon, I would say. And then it's to deliver the message, deliver a point of view, and then get it in as fast and quickly as possible, and then to have it spread on to the next person. So Richard Dawkins came up with the idea. Instead of it being in a genetic sense, memetics is in terms of ideas which stick in people's minds. So here Kate has got let's have a look. This is a sort of right wing meme, and this one Kate has got Bernie no, and we can dissect it and see how it's put together here. Bernie no, and then we've got a picture of Bernie Sanders, who's a left wing politician in America, sitting with an African American in some sort of interview. And Bernie's saying, I heard a statistic, it blew me away. And then you've got Kate saying, Bernie, no. So, okay, what's the message being delivered here? And so it's because there is, this is based on another meme which goes around, and it's relating to crime statistics in America, and they will say something like 13% of the population commits whatever it is, 70% of the crimes. I'm not sure what it is, but it's the idea is that it's the African American crime is way out of proportion to their numbers to their demographic numbers, to their percentage of the population. And then of course we've got it's multi-layered, this. Even though it's very simple, there's not much to it, it delivers a multitude of interesting and subversive points. And subversive is the word I'm probably going to use a lot here. And so then we've got on top of that, Kate saying Bernie no. So then Kate's acknowledging that what Bernie, I mean obviously I don't think this actually happened, but Kate's acknowledging that Bernie is about to break a social taboo. He's about to say something politically correct, and she's warning him to stop, don't do it, or there'll be hell to pay, you're going to get into big trouble. And so this presumes that there is a certain set of ideas and opinions, or in this case statistics, which you're not allowed to discuss in, let's say, America in this case. And so this is in a way pointing fun. On the one hand, it's delivering the idea of the crime statistics themselves. The other one is that we're not allowed to talk about this, even though everybody knows it's true. And then there is a sort of sarcastic way of saying, Bernie, no, don't do it, Bernie, don't run for the fence, all hell will break loose and they're going to make your life a misery. And then you have to bring in another element, which is the superstructure of the left itself. I think there's another added twist to it by the fact that, he is talking to this African American. And so this caught on, and it bypasses all of your I think if a normie looks at this, it's bypassing a lot of the firewalls in their brain and hitting them in the subconscious, hitting them in the gut. It goes straight through there and gets to them and makes them have a laugh and dislocates them a little bit from the standard narratives that they're getting. So it is funny and it is subversive because it's breaking quite a lot of taboos and then even laughing at the fact, even mocking the fact that those taboos exist in the first place. So this then, obviously it became popular, and then we can move on and we can see that there was this reply by a leftist. And I mean, look at all the look at all the text. So the first thing, before we get into that, just look at the image they've used. It looks like it's from like a 90s CGI movie or like an old Toy Story or Finding Nemo. It's a bit naff, and it's got this lecturing tone as well. And then the text itself is basically, it's a copy and paste of some sort of social justice or humanities doctrine, which is to say that what they're doing here is saying that the reason why that statistic exists is because, and then there's a long wall of text explaining institutional racism in America, and it ends up where at the end of it they're going to say, I'm not reading the whole thing out, I'm barely seeing it. It makes you think that maybe those FBI stats have a lot more to do with systemic racial profiling than some sort of innate behaviour in black people. How's that for a brain blast? So what they've done here is use left-wing ideology, about 500 words of it, to explain, to try and debunk the original meme, which is really simplistic and cuts through all the BS, as the Americans say, and reveals some uncomfortable truths about the zeitgeist. And the left-wing meme, in response to that, is a wall of text and an irritating picture saying that this is wrong, and here we've got the statistics, we've got the facts. This is a whole wall of ideological driven text to explain why your meme is incorrect. Well, so what, it isn't funny because it's the voice of authority and it's the voice of power. So this lefty meme it's a bit like if your dad goes to, you go to a wedding or you go to a birthday party and your dad goes down on the dance floor and starts trying to outdo all of the 18-year-old girls, and he's kind of hobbling around thinking he's John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever. Even though he's actually dancing to Katy Perry or something. This is what the left wing meme actually is, and it's not in any way subversive. What they're trying to do is control the narrative and use the voice of authority and the structural power to put subversion in line. So you can't really possibly it isn't in any way subversive. It's just the voice of authority, the voice of power, and there's nothing funny about that. There's nothing interesting about it at all. But then, even just as a basic as the meme itself, remember the idea of the meme is to make an impression, sort of express an idea or an opinion which can then be passed on quickly. But the problem is, on this one, you're going to be sitting here for about 10 minutes just wading your way through that text. And people have pointed out as well that they make an argument that the left are the greatest memers of all time because they've managed to cajole the whole of the West, really, into believing a certain set of ideas and principles. In actual fact, that's not the case. What they have done is use structural power to bully everybody into it. But I do take the point, and if you go back to when the left wasn't as powerful, what we think of the left, let's not get hung up on definitions. Something like the make love not war of the 60s would be a successful left-wing meme. So in other words, when they didn't have the kind of institutional power that they have now, they would have been capable of making subversive memes and spreading them around in that way. And so, really, the answer to this question of why they can't do memes is because of institutional power, and because there's nothing subversive. They can't be subversive. They are the ones who have to be subverted and are being subverted by these memes. And that's why the general tone of that response was one of hectoring. And it was one of, basically, it was one of saying, shut your mouth, this is the line, this is the truth, and just accept it and get in line. And that's not really a particularly funny or witty way to go about it. There may be others. There may be others to take a look at it sometime as well. I find the yes meme interesting. I may take a look at that one as well. So yeah, it is interesting, but I think what it comes down to is institutional power holding the line against outside forces, which are subversive. So I'll catch you later, folks.